From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrus with Weather Weeklies.
Hey, good Sunday morning to you. Another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, November 27th. And we're going to get into the long-range portion of this video first, a long-range table, and show you what we're talking about in the next couple of weeks up through about the 15th. Now, we've been hearing a lot of chatter out there about this pattern change, and it seems like on Facebook and Twitter it's been amateur hour, where you have these people coming on there with absolutely no meteorological credentials, making comments about how it's supposed to be so warm next week, and then, you know, where's this pattern change? Well, it wasn't supposed to occur yet. If you follow our free, you don't have to even pay for our forum, where we talk about this several times a week and throughout the week. If you follow our free, our free services, just our long range outlook that comes out every Friday, our Weather Weeklies videos that comes out on Sundays. We've been talking about this for several weeks now. Pattern change is the second week of December. So I'm not sure what we're expecting up until that point, but it certainly isn't coming from us. I know we're getting a lot of information from several different sources, and maybe you're forgetting your source and jumping on our site here, talking about this pattern change that it should be here by now, and we haven't had it here by now. This should occur during the second week of December. This is what we've been talking about now for several weeks now. If you can look back at the past videos or past long-range updates, you can see that. But we are going to be above normal this week. As a matter of fact, from the 28th through about the 2nd, we have this area above normal, and it will be above normal. Some areas will go over 60 degrees. So if you're expecting a pattern change this week, you're going to be sadly mistaken. Okay, now after that point, after the 2nd, after that system moves through around the 1st or 2nd, you're going to have a temperature change back down to near, maybe even slightly below normal for a couple days. And then I think the second week of December, here it is, second week of December is where we go back to slightly below normal. Now, this isn't going to be, temperatures going 20 to 30 degrees below normal. Okay, this is relative to this time of year. So slightly below normal for this time of year in mid-December is cold enough for snow. All right, so this is not slightly below normal compared to September highs. This is December 15th. Okay, so normal highs are already lower at that point to begin with. So if you're going slightly below normal, that's cold enough for snow. Now, up until that point, like we said, this week, you're going to have a couple back-to-back systems. Tuesday, and then again on Wednesday into Thursday, they're going to bring a decent amount of rain. This is much needed rainfall for this area. We have been, of course, behind in year-to-date rainfall projections. We also, this will not eliminate that, but any rain that we get will definitely, whether it's rain or snow or ice, this all adds up to the big picture for when we get to doing things like increasing the reservoirs, getting the water table back up. And I know it's not the growing season anymore, but this will help as we go into spring. So the more snow, ice, and whatnot you get, rain that you get during the winter, the better. That all adds up and helps when we get to spring. Right now we are below normal in precipitation, so we could definitely use it. We see we are going still, December as a whole, slightly above normal precipitation, above normal snowfall, below normal temperatures. That is not a misprint. That is not going to be changed unless something is obvious. And this is what we see going forward. Same thing in January. Below normal temperatures, above normal precipitation, above normal snowfall. No reason to change this, folks. I know some people are ready to jump off a cliff here. Oh, winter's canceled, and here it is, November 27th. It's hilarious when I read these amateur hour comments on Facebook and Twitter. Winter's not canceled, and we're not changing anything. This is our projection, and it remains to be our projection. Pattern change, again, we're going to talk about this in this video a lot. This is going to be what we look like this upcoming week. Again, that period from about the 28th to December 2nd is going to be very warm, very anomalously warm. And that is synoptically driven. You have a system at the same time during this time frame is going to be cutting to our west up in the lakes. Well, when it does that, you just invite all this warm air to come up here. Okay, your low pressure is cutting up into the lakes. Well, all this rain and warm air is going to be inundating this region here. So you're going to have a synoptically driven warmth. All right, and this was expected. We saw this a few weeks out. We saw this period of warmth coming in. You do see this cold building to our west, though, and some of that will start to bleed eastward. This is now looking about 8 days into the future. 7 to 8 days. Now look, you can see equal opportunity here across the country here as far as cold. Now this isn't super cold. All right, so I don't get the idea here that's going to be highs in the teens here. That's not what we're talking about here, and it doesn't need to do that to snow. All right, but it is going to be below normal nonetheless. All right, by a couple degrees, 1, 2, 3 degrees. Well, the normal highs at this time are generally in the lower 40s. So your temperatures are on December 4th. So if your temperatures are below normal by about 1 to 3 degrees Celsius, all right, your temperatures are going to be stuck in the 30s for highs, and that's going out quite a bit, maybe right around 40. But this is still not quite warm, not cold enough. But you got to remember that as time passes, the average temperature is going down by a degree or two every other day. Okay, so here's when we get out to 12 days. Again, still slightly below normal. Big cold out here in the west with a negative P&A starting. And then we get into 15, 16 days in the future. Pretty much the same idea. So we have flipped. We're not above normal anymore. And if anything, you can argue that, okay, this is maybe near normal here, 15, 16 days in the future, but the European ensembles are a little more aggressive with the cold here. So we're going to keep with that idea versus the GEFS, which are the GFS ensembles. As a matter of fact, let me show you that here. Just so you know, I'm not cherry-picking data here and saying, oh, well, GFS ensembles have always been cold and the European model has disagreed. Well, that's not true. As we get into, here's 8 days from now, here's what the European ensemble shows. Okay, below normal cold. And then we get into the period to about 12 days from now. Same thing. The whole country is cold. You get a little bit warmer up here, very cold here, and you're below normal here. It doesn't need to be super below normal at this point. It's the 8th of December. And then we get to 4 days later, 3-4 days later, you're still below normal here. But again, this is in degrees Celsius. This is a difference from what is considered to be normal at this time on this date on December 11th. Okay? And you see these dark blues here. Well, that's -3, -4 Celsius on this chart down here, below what is considered to be normal for that date. So if you're looking like that, then your temperatures are going to be in the 30s for highs. All right, and it's cold enough that you can get snow, not just in the far interior, not just in places like northeast Pennsylvania. You can get snow that's going to be coming in pretty far south and east, all the way, now we're getting to the I-95 corridor as a dividing line. Now, I think what we're going to get into coming up here as far as a pattern. Now, we talked about how earlier on, this is straight from our winter outlook. We talked about early on, you're going to have a lot of lake effect type snow events. Northern stream systems coming across the lakes. I think that's still going to continue. You're going to have the northern stream systems continue early on in the season. We're also going to start getting into these little southwest flow events where you have a wave that comes up kind of like this, and you have overrunning snow on the north side of it. We're going to start getting into that pattern very soon too, and I think we're eventually going to be transitioning from these cutters, those systems coming in to cutting to our west over the Great Lakes, are going to have less of an influence. That you're going to start seeing them cutting over us, and then eventually you'll start getting them moving further south and east. Now, whether that's too far south and east to where they're suppressed remains to be seen, but I don't think we're getting so overwhelmingly cold that will happen too often. Again, I think our primary pattern here going forward with storms are going to be these southwest flow events, okay, where you have these just kind of a flatlined system here, and you get the overrunning on the north side of it like that, okay. So I think we're going to get into that pattern once we start getting into the middle of the month. Still going to have your clipper systems, and this is the kind of pattern that we expected early on. This is not a big blizzard type pattern that you're looking at right here. All right, that might come eventually. Not blizzard necessarily, but bigger storm. That might come eventually, but not yet. Now, we talked about what the stratosphere was doing, and it was benefiting the wrong side of the world as far as any splits and displacements. We are seeing signs that it's going to start benefiting North America more, especially when we go out in time, and less influence on Asia and Europe, okay? You can have these the sudden stratospheric warming episodes all you want, which has about a 10 to 14 day lag time to get to the United States. If it occurs here, if it benefits this side of the globe, but we haven't had that so far. Right now we're starting to see signs that down the road we will have the stratosphere and any splits not benefiting Asia as much as it will be North America. Okay, so we're not really, this is not the most ideal look here, but just the fact that it's benefiting North America, the North American continent versus Asia and Europe is the main takeaway here. So we are thinking that once we get any kind of change in here, that this could continue and the stratosphere will help keep that in place. So a lot of people are talking about a strong polar vortex and how it's getting strong. It's getting strong. I think that might be just temporary. I don't think we're going to have a very strong polar vortex this year. We mentioned that in our winter outlook as well. Snow cover propagation has not been an issue in Asia and Siberia. There's very deep snow cover over here, so we're keeping the predominantly negative Arctic oscillation. I think people are starting to forget about all the things that got us here and forgetting that we're going to have a dominant negative Arctic oscillation. It might not be showing that in just within the next week or so. Like I said, up until the second week of December, you're not going to have that much. But beyond that, things are going to start getting better. And I just don't understand. Last December we were 12 to 15 degrees above normal for the month in many locations. That was extremely, extremely warm. And we're going to be nowhere near that this year. So when we say there's going to be an early winter, second week of December is not winter yet, and yet it's starting early. That is an early start to winter. I'm not sure why people thought we were starting in like October or November or something with snow. And some places did. We had some lake effect snows for northern areas. And some areas got their first coatings to a couple inches of snow. So in some areas they did get their first snow. But, that's about all you can expect in the month of November. We are still starting early. Winter doesn't start until November 21st. So if we're saying the temperature's going to cooperate in December already, second week, then that's early. That's a lot earlier than last year for certain. Here's the one of the things we need to have sustained cold and snow is snow cover. This is what we looked at a week ago, and this is what it's going to look like, expected to look like in 10 days. And you can see a big difference here where it's starting to fill in and get a lot deeper in here. A lot deeper up in here. Okay. So it wasn't really kind of sporadic here before that. So it's expected to get a lot deeper. The whole idea here is when you get these, go back to this image here, at this area here, and this is a large part of why this snow cover is going to get deeper. If you have air from your cold air region coming across like this, and is coming across a snow-covered area, that means that this area here will not experience much in the way of moderation of that cold as it moves south and east. However, if this is all barren land, and it's dry and you don't have snow cover, any cold air source, anything coming from this cold air source region will start to moderate a lot quicker as it moves south and east. And by the time it gets here, it's really not that cold. And that's what we've been dealing with so far. I think you're getting more sustained shots of cold going to be coming in because of that. And this is what typically happens once you go into the months of December, January, February. So that's why we're looking at this throughout the season. And you can see it's starting to fill in quite a bit. And it's going to continue to fill in, we think. So basically in summary here, I just wanted to just point out again, this pattern change, this is a pattern change. It doesn't have to be 10 degrees anomalously below normal in order to be a pattern change. This is for the middle of December. So if it looks like this in middle of December, guess what? This is cold enough for snow. Okay? It doesn't need to be 20 degrees below zero outside. I'm not sure why we'd want that anyway. Okay? But a pattern change, this is a pattern change. Is anything sustained that gets you near or below normal? This has not been the pattern for many, 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 many months. We've been above normal forever and a day, each month, and we're projecting for the first time that December will be below normal. And the ensembles indicate that. The European weeklies show that. Okay, so just give it time. It's coming. The month of December will be a lot better for you. At least maybe not the first week. But after that point, we think it will be. So just exercise some patience. And of course, if you've not signed up for our My Pocket Meteorologist text alerts, now's the time to do it. We have the focused per county weather alerts, which means you're going to have information about the county you live in, as far as timing of system start and end times, how much snow you're expected, how much ice you're expected, and any changeover times as applicable. We'll send those to your texts directly to your phone, and we do that for just one county you live in, or if you commute between counties, we'll do that for 2 counties as well for just $10 more. Also, the premium form, this is also for the entire winter. That's not per month, that's the total for the entire winter. And the premium form, we discuss all the threats that we're coming up on. Those snow threats will be done with model analysis, intense detailed model analysis. For just, if you already have a service, it will only be $30 a year. If you don't, it's $45 a year for a standalone. If one of you guys have any of our services, it doesn't matter if you have our daily forecast, or you could have our monthly text alerts, and you wanted the forum for only $30 a year, you'll notice you can't find that in there. Just send us an email, quick, info@epawaweather.com, and I will add that on for you or show you how to give you the link to do that, because we don't share that publicly. So if you already, like, this is for people that purchased this in the past, that have existing services in the past, you wanted to add the forum on, info@epawaweather.com, and we will give you information on where to add that on for just $30. Again, you have to have an existing service to get it for $30. If you don't, it's still $45 a year for the standalone purchase. But this is where we interact with you and will address any of your concerns and those comments on Facebook and Twitter that we ignore will be addressed in the forum. Okay, we do interact with you in there, and we do the long-range outlooks several times a week in there, not just one day like we do in the public, and it's a lot more detailed. So please do check this out. Click on the image below this video, and it will take you right to that, and that will give you more information on our My Pocket Meteorologist program, powered by Eastern PA Weather Authority and Weather New Jersey. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Marters. That is this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, November 27th, 2016. We'll see you again next week.